Aprendizajes clave para la educación integral is a book published by the Mexican government through its education department, the Secretaría de Educación Pública, in which a group of teachers and education experts structured a syllabus for basic education based on aprendizajes clave, which are those that enable students to continue learning constantly and they contribute to the integral development of students. The book is organized in three components. The first one focuses on academic study. The second one on the social and personal development of students with a special emphasis on the social-emotional skills. And the third component gives schools the autonomy to complement or modify the syllabus according to their needs, interests, and contexts.
Theoretical elements. Modern cognitive science seems to confirm that more than the quality of the knowledge that the students builds, the understanding to he develops, and the mobilization of the knowledge are of the radical importance. Knowledge is multifaceted. There are knowledge about abstract concepts, about how they solve routine problems, about how they handle the situation with dynamic and complex problems. The teacher's work is essential for the students to learn and transcend even the material obstacles and lags that they must face. A good teacher, starting from the point where he meets his students, has the stakes of taking that as far as possible in the construction of the knowledge residing in the study and programs in the development of their maximum potential. They must have tools to make student mistakes real learning opportunities, help them identify both the errors and its origin. They must primarily generate successful experiences that contribute to overcoming difficult situations, as well as foster learning environments whose objective is to identify and promote the personal interests and intrinsic motivation of students.
As the book of Aprendizajes Clave mentions, the main aim of the subject, lengua extranjera, Inglés, is that students develop learning skills, knowledge, attitudes, and strategies in order to participate and interact in social practices of language, written or spoken, in different communicative and cultural contexts, with native and non-native speakers of the language. This subject is organized in two stages that are distributed between the basic education levels. These two stages are contact and familiarization stage, from 3rd grade of kindergarten to 2nd grade of elementary school, and the stage of basic proficiency in English, from 3rd grade of elementary school to 3rd grade of junior high school. So by the time that students get to high school, they should be able to communicate and interact using the English language. This goal is intended to be reached through the development of different tasks that help students improve their skills. It's because of this that we think that Aprendizajes Clave, that is, the syllabus planned for basic education in the country, is linked mainly to two approaches on language teaching: communicative language teaching, or CLT, and task-based learning, or TBL. Communicative language teaching, or CLT, is an approach to teaching second and foreign languages, which emphasizes interaction as the means and the ultimate goal of language learning. Within the syllabus proposed by Aprendizajes Clave, the social practices of language look at communicative interaction and how it becomes the focus of teaching and learning. Each unit in Aprendizajes Clave provides activity suggestions that encourage students to express, exchange, and defend ideas, emotions, desires, interests, and establish and maintain interpersonal relationships, access and interpret information, participate in the construction of knowledge, and reflect on one's own process of discursive creation. Task-based learning, or TBL, is an approach in which learning revolves around the completion of meaningful tasks. In the TBL approach, the main focus is the authentic use of language for genuine communication. Learners engage in real-world activities that demand speaking and/or writing and understanding by listening and/or reading. Each task during the cycle of TBL has different purposes and characteristics which capture the student's attention and interest in the language that will be used when achieving the target task. In other words, the cycle consists of several tasks that will prepare students for a bigger task. In the book of Aprendizajes Clave, each scholar grade is divided into several units. Each unit contains a social practice of language, a social environment, main goals, and several suggestions of activities to apply in order to reach a final project. In other words, each unit consists of a main task that should be done by the end of the unit, and different smaller activities draw the path to get to that task. This main task is, as we have mentioned before, based on a real-world situation, so all the tasks focus on a particular aspect of the whole context that is being set. At the beginning of the major, when we first started planning, we used a lot of grammar translation method because we had no knowledge on other ways of teaching, thus making traditional classes was the most trustable way to make less mistakes.
Usually, as we are planning lessons, we use Aprendizajes Clave as a guide. We take some activity suggestions from it as a basis to develop the whole sequence. We do not always cover all the language features proposed by the syllabus, but the bases, like the final project, the explicit learning for the lessons, etc., are always included. To select the material and activities that can be applied in the group, we follow a small process, which is we observe the group, the context of the school, then we create a class profile, and based on the we start finding materials that can work and activities that may work with students.
What we both think about language teaching, based on our experience as students and as teachers, is that exposure is a fundamental aspect for language acquisition. As teachers, we need to make sure that we provide students with enough resources that they can use to learn and practice a foreign language, in this case, English. For us, the best way to teach a language is that in which students can learn useful vocabulary, structures, and phrases that they can actually use to communicate naturally, and when learners study in comfortable environments in which they can feel confident to try to use language, no matter if they make mistakes. And it's the job of the teacher to create the conditions for this to happen.